Well, here we are again. Still day 0. Because I've had a pretty rough day, and that's all I'm thinking about. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get more stuff for myself, and this is probably, it's financially ruining me, but that's okay. That's okay. I'll get out of it eventually, just not tonight. Since this is still day 0 and I can't do long videos, I wanted to talk about me, who I am as a person. I'm pretty sure by this video that you can see that I am not well off at the moment. Which is not something that I was expecting, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it. Who am I? So, I'm not gonna say any original names because, whatever. I don't have a problem with saying my original name. It doesn't bother me all that much unless I have to repeat it constantly. Like, no, that's not my name anymore. I grew up. My earliest memories are from the place we lived before my family moved to Valcartier in Quebec. Oh, and by the way, I speak French. Je parle français. C'est facile. C'est pas de problème. I speak Quebec French, but whatever. It is what it is. And I had, I think, an okay early childhood. I was somewhat troublesome and destructive, but that's because I was a little boy, and I'm sorry, but a lot of little boys are troublesome and destructive. That's just how they operate as developing human beings, right? Some of the stuff I did was stupid and insane. And I'm only going to do 2 because I don't want to get in that much trouble. However, there was a school in New Brunswick when I was growing up, and this is when the isolation and the bullying kind of started for me, like 3rd, 4th grade, I think. And, when that starts and you're a kid and you're isolated, you tend to, lash out on people. And one of the people that I lashed out against was the teachers that were in my school. I felt misunderstood very often. I didn't feel happy ever. I don't know what happiness is. Well, I do, except it's very ephemeral for me. It's very, it doesn't really exist for me. So I stuffed the exhaust pipes of every single car in the school parking lot. Every single one of them. Stuffed with garbage. I didn't know what it was going to do. I could have hurt someone really badly, but nothing happened. The cars didn't move for 3 or 4 days because they had to get someone to literally pull all the garbage out of the exhaust pipes out. But, that's... I was a kid, right? Younger than that, you don't really... I think that was the first time I understood what I did and how wrong what I did was. However, I did do other things before that. Stupid kid things, nothing particularly serious. After Valcartier, we moved to New Brunswick, and New Brunswick was my hell. My social hell. There's one thing that the Maritime has that I miss above all else, and that's the ocean. If someone gave me money and said, pick a place where you want to live, I would pick by the ocean in the Maritimes. I miss it immensely. It is a fond memory that I have. One of the few fond memories that I have, and I really want to go back there and see the ocean. And some years ago, I went down to the Dominican Republic, and the ocean was there, and it wasn't the same. Different smells, different people. I want the Atlantic, and I want the Maritimes Atlantic. So there's that. But New Brunswick was really bad for me. The bullying was incessant, non-stop, and brutal. And it wasn't just the other kids. I found myself in positions where, like, if I were to use like a scientific metric, my grades. My grades were always awful. Always. Especially when I was teamed up with the other troublemakers, right? There's this concept that we have of like categorizing human beings into, sets of people. And one of the things that happened, and I remember this very clearly, is it was Harry Potter. Harry Potter was big at the time. And we were picking our houses. And I got put into Slytherin because I was a troublemaker and no one really liked me. Well, that reinforced the fact that I was a troublemaker and no one really liked me. The only time you ever saw, and I believe that this was a point of redemption in my life that I actually missed, the only time that you ever saw my grades go up in any kind of significant way was when I was paired with girls. Sorry. I was with my people. And when you get paired with girls, especially, and you're a very young person, and you don't understand the psychological processes that are going on in your mind. Because a lot of people think that transitioning, coming out, all that crap is a choice. It's not, because if I had a choice, I would have never chosen to do it. It is a life-altering, life-crippling choice that people make just for some sort of peace of mind. And of course, every time I was put with the girls, because I was a boy, the girls would automatically reject me. So rejection is a big part of my life. This was in grade school. And then I went on to high school, and high school is when the development of my social self really went south on me. So high school was, in essence, the point where all of my hopes and dreams went to die. And even years and years after that, I still remember those days very clearly when I walked by like a group of other adolescents and I overheard one of them going like, well, they'll be dead by the age of 21. I beat them. However, the isolation and the loneliness are things that cripple me. Right? They cripple me to this day, right? I'm not a if I'm talking in front of a crowd and I know what I'm talking about, it's perfect. I have that kind of ability to put on like a mask of like friendliness and sociality. However, when I'm by myself, or I'm trying to deal with people in like a normal way, where like I'm trying to open myself up socially to other human beings, I find myself incapable of doing it. And this is a really sad thing, because I used to be the person who would try to help others who felt rejected, because I knew what it felt like, and I knew the kind of damage that it does to people. After my first year of high school, I was effectively destroyed emotionally and physically, and like, not physically, you're young, but like emotionally and socially, I was there was like a 1 month period, and this is truth, there was like a 1 month period where I didn't talk to a single human being. My parents would ask me like, how was school today? Fine. Did you learn anything new? No. Those were my answers. I was so disconnected from everyone and everything, right? So there's that, you know. Without making this video too long, I have redeeming qualities, I think. Lately, my redeeming qualities have really not been shining through, but I'm very intelligent. I like to think that I'm well-spoken and capable of intelligent discussion. I'm very socially intelligent. However, there are a lot of people in my community that I do not subscribe to or support their opinions, because they're making us look like a bunch of cracked out clowns, and it's not what this is about. I'm very kind, care about the people who are around me very deeply, and that's kind of another reason why I'm hurt so badly of late, is because, and why I've been doing so many drugs, is because something very important in my life was taken away from me very recently, and I haven't recovered. I went through all the stages of like loss. However, I am still stuck at grief and anger, because, you know, I don't think I deserve what happened, but whatever, it's not a big deal, and we're not going to get into it, and we're not ever going to get into it. You know, I am an excellent cook, and I mean, when I'm an excellent cook, I mean like I can literally fucking cook circles around people. Just to tell you how much of an excellent cook I am, I'm actually preparing food in my room right now. You can't really see it, but I needed to have something brining at room temperature, so I literally have it set up in my room, because my room is a little bit warmer, to brine at room temperature for about 6 to 8 hours, and it's a pretty heavy brine, so it'll do its job. I don't want it to go completely through, but whatever, if it happens, it happens, mistakes happen. But that's the thing, right? Like, I have redeeming qualities, however, it seems like my efforts don't mean anything anymore. They're not valid in our society anymore, and I'll get into that on my next video, because I'm out of time. But yeah, still day zero. Never gonna be free of this shit.